The twin suns were just rising over the metal city of Terath 9, painting the streets in orange and gold. Humans and aliens worked side by side here, though side by side was only true on paper. In truth, there were invisible walls. Humans stayed in their sectors, aliens stayed in theirs. The law said it was for safety. Everyone knew it was for control. Every morning, Ethan Hale, a young human mechanic, opened his small food stall near the factory gates. He sold warm bread, protein packs, and cups of thick blue tea to workers starting their shifts. It was honest work, quiet work. But lately, something strange had been happening. Each morning, when he unlocked his stall, he noticed that a little food was missing, just enough for one small meal. Never more. Never anything expensive. Just bread, maybe a fruit cube, sometimes a drink. At first, Ethan thought it was a mistake. Maybe he had miscounted, but after a week, he knew better. Someone was stealing from him every single night. He installed a cheap security cam above the counter, hoping to catch the thief. The next morning, he played the footage. At first, the screen showed only shadows. Then movement. A small cloaked figure slipped from the darkness, moving fast but quiet as if floating. The figure opened the food container carefully, took one piece of bread, and then paused. The hood tilted slightly as if the thief was listening. Then with careful steps, the figure disappeared into the night. Ethan replayed the clip 3 times. The thief was small, too small for an adult. Maybe a child. But the way the figure moved, it wasn't human. The body seemed too light, the steps too smooth. An alien kid, Ethan muttered. Why steal from me? He could have called the patrol. They would come with scanners and drones, and the thief would be found within hours. But something in him stopped. Whoever it was, they weren't stealing for greed. They took only enough to stay alive. The next night, Ethan decided to wait. He hid behind his stall in the dark alley, holding a small flashlight and a metal bar, just in case. The city was quiet except for the hum of flying transports above. Hours passed. Then just before dawn, he heard it. A soft footstep. The same small figure appeared again, hood pulled tight, hands shaking as they reached for the food tray. Ethan stepped out from the shadows. "Stop," he said sharply. The figure froze. The hood turned toward him. For a moment, neither moved. Then the thief dropped the bread and ran. "Wait," Ethan shouted, chasing after. The alley was narrow, lit by blue streetlights. The figure darted between trash units, small and fast. Ethan followed, his boots clanging on metal. He was faster, but the thief was clever, slipping through gaps in fences and narrow pipes. Finally, the figure turned a corner and tripped. The hood fell back, and Ethan saw the face. It was a girl, but not a human girl. Her skin shimmered faint silver, and faint glowing lines ran along her cheeks like veins of light. Her eyes were large and bright blue, filled with fear. "Please," she whispered in broken English. "No hurt," Ethan lowered his metal bar slowly. You're just a kid." She tried to stand but stumbled again. Her clothes were torn, thin, dirty from the streets. She looked weak, starving. Ethan saw her hand tremble as she tried to grab the bread she dropped. He sighed and took a step closer. "You don't have to steal. If you needed food, you could have asked." The girl shook her head, eyes wide. "Humans and no help us," she said quietly. "They take us away." Ethan froze. He knew what she meant. Alien families who crossed into the human zone were often relocated by galactic health officers, sent to unknown camps, never seen again. Before he could say anything else, the girl grabbed the bread and ran. She was fast again, disappearing into the dark like smoke. Ethan didn't chase her. He just stood there, breathing hard, staring down the empty street. On the ground near his foot lay something small and glowing. He bent down and picked it up. It was a necklace. A thin chain with a round crystal pendant glowing softly with strange alien symbols. The moment he touched it, the pendant pulsed once, as if alive. Ethan turned it over in his hand. The symbols moved like liquid light. He didn't understand them, but somehow they felt sad. He looked up at the dark alley where the girl had vanished. "Who are you?" he whispered. That night, Ethan didn't sleep. He cleaned the necklace, watched the strange glow, and thought about the girl's frightened face. Why would a child risk everything to steal such little food? And why from him out of all the humans in Terath 9? Outside, the neon lights flickered and the city kept moving. But Ethan felt something shift inside him. He couldn't explain it, but he knew this was not the end. Something about that girl, the fear in her eyes, the necklace that seemed to whisper in his hand, told him this was only the beginning of something much bigger, and he would see her again. Soon. The next morning, Ethan could not stop thinking about the small alien girl. Her face, her shaking hands, the glowing necklace. Everything stayed in his mind like a dream that refused to fade. He didn't open his stall that day. Instead, he sat inside his workshop, turning the necklace in his hands. The crystal in the center pulsed faintly, almost like a heartbeat. Whenever his fingers brushed against it, a soft warmth spread through his skin. His AI assistant, a small hovering sphere named V, beeped beside him. "Ethan, you have been staring at that object for 6 hours. Should I analyze it?" Ethan sighed. "No, not yet. He didn't want the system to record it. If the galactic network detected alien tech, security patrols would arrive within minutes. And if they found out he had contact with an unregistered alien, he'd lose everything. Still, he couldn't throw it away. It didn't feel like a simple trinket. It felt alive." That night, Ethan left the necklace glowing faintly on the table and returned to the alley where he had first seen the girl. He waited under the dim blue lights, holding a small food pack in his hands. Hours passed. The city quieted. Then a sound, soft footsteps behind him. Ethan turned slowly. There she was again, smaller than he remembered, her hood still covering her silver skin. She froze when she saw him. "It's okay," Ethan said gently. "I'm not here to hurt you." Her blue eyes darted to the food in his hand, then to the necklace hanging from his neck. The moment she saw it, her breath caught. My mother's," she whispered. Ethan nodded. "You dropped it." He took it off and held it out. "Here, take it back." She hesitated.
"You not call soldiers?"
"No soldiers," Ethan said softly. "I just want to talk." She looked around nervously, then slowly stepped forward. Up close, Ethan could see how thin she was, her cheeks hollow, her small hands trembling. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lyra," she said. Her voice was soft, but her accent was strange, sharp and musical at the same time. "Lyra," Ethan repeated. "Why are you stealing food from me every night?" She looked down. "For my mother. She's sick, very sick, can't move. No food." Ethan felt something twist in his chest. "Where do you live?" "In the ruins," she said. "Outside walls. Humans no go there." He knew the place. An old section of the city destroyed after the war between humans and her people, the Illyrians. The government had promised to rebuild it. They never did. Ethan opened the food pack and handed it to her. "Here, for tonight." Lyra hesitated, then took it. She opened it carefully, eating slowly as if afraid it would disappear. "Your mother," Ethan said after a while. "She needs a doctor." "No," Lyra said quickly. "Humans take aliens. They say heal, but they never come back." Ethan looked at her trembling hands. "You've seen it happen, haven't you?" She nodded. Tears welled in her eyes but didn't fall. "They took my father. Said he's sick. He never come home." The words hit Ethan hard. He looked away. He had heard rumors about alien families disappearing after medical inspections. Most humans ignored it. Some said it was for safety. Ethan had always believed that, until now. "Can you take me to your mother?" he asked quietly. Lyra's eyes widened. "No, too dangerous. Humans can't go. Patrols see, they shoot." "I won't tell anyone," Ethan promised. "But if she's sick, she could die. I can help. I fix machines, I know medicine tech." She studied his face, uncertain. Then she asked softly, "Why help us, you human?" Ethan smiled sadly. "Because you remind me of my little sister. She was your age when she got sick. Nobody helped her either." Silence hung in the cold air. Then Lyra nodded slowly. "Tomorrow," she whispered, "I take you. But you promise, no tell anyone." "I promise," Ethan said. Lyra turned to leave but stumbled, catching herself on the wall. Ethan reached forward and grabbed her arm. Her skin felt hot, too hot. When he looked closer, he saw faint glowing veins spreading up her neck, flickering like tiny blue lightning. "Lyra," he said softly. "You're sick too?" She shook her head weakly. "No, just tired." But her knees gave out and she collapsed into his arms. "V," Ethan called. The AI zipped closer, scanning her. "Warning," V said. "Unidentified biosignal detected. Her vitals are unstable. Her body is reacting to unknown nanotech infection." Ethan's heart pounded. Nanotech infection? That was human-made. What was it doing inside an alien child? He carried Lyra back to his workshop, ignoring the cameras and patrol drones flying above. Inside, he laid her on his cot. Her skin flickered with light under the dim lamps like stars moving beneath her surface. "Hold on," he whispered. "I'll help you." "I promise," V beeped again. "Ethan, if you report her, medical units can arrive in—" "No," Ethan interrupted. "No one else touches her." He turned to the AI with fire in his eyes. "She's just a child, and she's not dying tonight." Outside, the neon lights of Tereth 9 flickered again. But inside that small workshop, a forbidden act of kindness had begun. Ethan didn't know it yet, but saving this one alien girl would soon put him against the entire galactic law. The night felt long and heavy in Ethan's workshop. The quiet hum of machines mixed with the faint sound of the alien girl's uneven breathing. Lyra lay on the narrow cot, her silver skin glowing faintly in the dark. Each pulse of light came slower than the last. Ethan worked fast. He wiped the sweat from his forehead and opened an old med kit. His hands shook slightly, not from fear but from the weight of what he was doing. Helping an alien was not just dangerous, it was illegal. The Galactic Health Law 9 passed years ago, forbade humans from offering medical help to any non-human species without government permission. The reason was safety and disease control. The truth was control. "V," Ethan said, voice low. "I need full scan data." "What's happening to her?" The small AI sphere hovered closer, its blue light sweeping over Lyra's body. "Analyzing. She carries a nanotech system, partly human in origin. It's unstable. Her immune system is failing." "Human nanotech?" Ethan frowned. "That can't be right." "It is," V replied. "This technology was banned after the Tereth experiments. It should not exist." Ethan stared at Lyra. The glowing veins on her neck looked like thin wires under her skin, moving with every weak breath.
So humans did this to her?
He muttered. "Unknown," V said softly. "But if untreated, she will die before sunrise." Ethan clenched his jaw. He thought of calling the health patrol, but the image of Lyra's frightened eyes came back to him. "They take us away," she had said. "They never come back." He couldn't risk it. He pulled over a tray of old repair tools, ones he usually used for broken machines. "If the infection is nanotech," he whispered, "I'll treat it like one." V hovered nervously. "Ethan, this is a violation of galactic law. If you are caught, punishment includes exile or death." "I know," Ethan said. "Start the disinfection scan." The AI obeyed. A faint blue light spread across the table, sterilizing the air. Ethan attached small sensors to Lyra's arms, chest, and neck. On the screen beside him, lines of alien code appeared, mixed with fragments of human code, interlocking, fighting each other. "It's merging," Ethan whispered. "Our tech is destroying her cells." He typed quickly, overriding the code to slow the spread. The screen flashed red. "Access denied," it warned. The code fought back, rewriting itself faster than he could stop it. "V, isolate the active nanites," he ordered. "Done," the AI said. "But the system is unstable. Her body temperature is dropping." Ethan took a breath. He reached for a small vial of repair serum, something he had designed years ago to clean corroded machine circuits. It was never meant for living things, but it could block energy signals, maybe long enough to stop the nanites. He filled a small injector and looked at Lyra. "I hope this works." He pressed the injector to her arm and released the serum. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then, the glow under her skin faded, replaced by a soft silver shimmer. Her breathing steadied, still weak but no longer fading. Ethan let out a shaky breath and leaned back in his chair. "She's stable," V said. "For now." Ethan smiled faintly. "Good, that's all I needed." He sat beside her, watching her sleep. She looked peaceful now, her face calm, almost human. As he cleaned his tools, V spoke again. "Ethan, why are you doing this? You know the risk." He looked at the AI. "Because nobody helped my sister when she needed it. She was human but poor. The system didn't care about her either. Maybe helping Lyra is my way to make it right." The AI went silent. Hours passed. Outside, the first light of dawn crept over the city towers. Ethan was just about to rest when he heard a faint voice. "Eth." He turned. Lyra's eyes were open, dim but clear. "You should rest," he said softly. "You're safe here." She shook her head weakly. "My mother. She needs help too. Ethan froze. Your mother? She's sick too? Lyra nodded. Worse than me. She can't breathe. Humans made her sick. You must help her. Ethan's stomach twisted. Where is she? In the ruins, Lyra whispered. She worked for humans before the war. They used her, then left her to die. He felt a chill. Used her? For what? She made machines. Machines like you use. They said she could save lives. But they lied. Lyra's voice cracked. Please, Eth, she's all I have. Ethan took her hand. We'll find her. I promise. But before he could say more, V's sensors flashed red. Warning, the AI said sharply. Unidentified signal detected. Government drones are scanning nearby sectors. They're searching for an illegal energy source matching this workshop. Ethan's heart jumped. They traced the necklace, he whispered. He grabbed the glowing pendant and placed it in a shielded box. V, block all transmissions. Done. But if they search this building, we can't hide her. Ethan looked at Lyra, fragile and glowing softly under the light. Then we leave before they come. He pulled his old travel coat from the hook, packed his tools, and lifted Lyra carefully in his arms. She was light, too light. As he stepped into the cold dawn, the AI hovered close behind. Where are we going? It asked. Ethan's eyes burned with quiet resolve. To the ruins, he said. To find her mother. He glanced once at the rising suns over Tereth 9 and whispered, If the law won't help them, then I will. And with that, he disappeared into the fading mist, carrying a secret the galaxy would soon learn to fear. The ruins lay beyond the city's shining walls, where the neon lights faded into silence, and broken towers stood like the bones of a dead world. Once this part of Tereth 9 was home to alien workers. Now it was a forgotten graveyard of metal and dust. Ethan carried Lyra through the cracked streets, her small arms limp around his neck. The morning air was cold and dry, filled with the smell of rust. V, his hovering AI sphere, floated beside him, its blue light dimmed to avoid detection. Energy scans show no patrols nearby, V whispered. But the air here is contaminated. Oxygen levels are low. Ethan tightened his mask. We won't be here long. Just find her mother. They moved past shattered buildings and melted walls. Faded alien symbols glowed faintly on some surfaces. Words Ethan couldn't read, but he could feel their sadness. At last, Lyra stirred weakly in his arms. Left that way, she whispered. He followed her direction, stepping into a tunnel beneath an old transport station. The deeper they went, the quieter it became, until the only sounds were their footsteps and the hum of the AI. Finally, they reached a small, dim chamber lit by flickering blue crystals. The air was thick and heavy. In the center lay a woman. Her body was thin, her skin pale silver like Lyra's, but dull, like light fading from glass. Strange veins of blue light crawled up her arms and neck, pulsing weakly. She looked barely alive. Ethan lowered Lyra beside her. The girl touched her mother's hand gently. Mama, she whispered. I bring help. The woman's eyes fluttered open, soft and distant. Lyra? Her voice was little more than a breath. Then her gaze shifted to Ethan. A human? Ethan knelt down. Yes, my name's Ethan Hale. I'm here to help. The woman tried to sit up, but her body trembled. You shouldn't be here. They'll kill you if they find out. I know, Ethan said quietly, but I couldn't just let your daughter die. And I won't let you die either. She stared at him for a long moment, her tired eyes full of something between disbelief and hope. Then she smiled faintly. You're a fool, human, but a kind fool. Lyra gripped her mother's hand tightly. Eth, help me, Mama. He stopped the sickness. Her mother turned her head toward Ethan. The sickness, she whispered. It's not a sickness. It's punishment, Ethan frowned. What do you mean? She coughed weakly, blue light flickering through her veins. I used to work for the Human Bioengineering Corps. They said they wanted peace. Said they wanted to help my people breathe in human cities. Her voice broke. But it was a lie. They tested machines on us, tiny machines that changed our blood, changed our lungs. They said it would make us stronger. Instead, it made us prisoners inside our own bodies. Ethan felt his chest tighten. The nanotech... Yes, she whispered. It's spreading. When the war started, they shut it down and left us here to die. Lyra looked up at Ethan, tears glimmering in her glowing eyes. Can you fix her, Eth, please? He didn't answer right away. He stared at the strange light under the woman's skin. The same pattern he'd seen on Lyra, but stronger. More unstable. I'll try, he said finally. But I'll need materials, tools. Oxygen, V beeped softly. Warning. Human patrol signals are approaching the outer sectors. Estimated arrival 20 minutes. Ethan cursed under his breath. We don't have time. He opened his tool bag, pulling out a small oxygen converter and energy cells. This is meant for machines, but if I can modify it, I can help her breathe again. He connected the device to her chest and adjusted the settings. The machine hissed softly, releasing clean air through a flexible tube. The woman gasped, her chest rising for the first time in hours. Lyra's eyes widened. Mama! The woman breathed weakly but managed to smile. You did this? Ethan nodded. It's only temporary. You need real treatment. She closed her eyes. There is no treatment. Once the nanotech fuses, it becomes part of us. First, maybe you can save my daughter. Promise me that. Ethan shook his head. No, I'm saving both of you. But she only smiled sadly. You humans always believe you can save everyone. That... Before Ethan could answer, a deep rumble shook the tunnel. Dust fell from the ceiling. Drones, V said. They're scanning the ruins. They found a trace of Lyra's necklace. Ethan stood quickly, checking his gear. We have to move. Lyra clung to her mother. She can't walk. The woman gripped Ethan's arm weakly. Take her, please. She has a chance. I don't. Ethan's voice cracked. I won't leave you. Then you'll die too, she said softly. And she'll be alone again. For a moment, Ethan stood frozen, torn between duty and mercy. Then Lyra whispered, Eth, please, help her. Ethan looked into the woman's fading eyes. What's your name? Maella, she whispered. Tell her. I loved her. Her hand slipped from his and her body went still, only the faint blue light flickering under her skin. No, Lyra cried, shaking her mother's shoulder. Wake up, Mama! Ethan wrapped his arms around her as she sobbed. His throat ached, but he forced himself to move. We'll come back, he said softly. I swear it, B's voice echoed urgently. They're here, Ethan, now. Ethan grabbed Lyra, lifted her into his arms, and ran toward the tunnel's end. Behind them, drones filled the ruins with blinding white light. As they disappeared into the shadows, Maella's body began to glow brighter, then steadied into a calm, silver light as if her spirit refused to fade. And deep inside the ruins, one of her machines, still connected to her pulse, flickered back to life. Recording her last heartbeat, the system whispered one word across its cracked screen: hope. The city of Tareth 9 shone like a silver crown above the wastelands. From the ruins below, it looked untouchable. Perfect towers, glowing streets, and a sky full of flying patrol drones. But in the lower shadows, hidden beneath broken tunnels, a human and an alien child worked against that perfect lie. Ethan Hale hadn't slept in 2 days. His eyes were red, his hands shaking from exhaustion. In front of him, a half-finished machine blinked weakly. A small metal lung, built from scraps of medical tech and old factory parts. Lyra sat nearby, wrapped in a blanket, watching him with wide, tired eyes. The glow from her silver skin was dimmer now. She had stopped crying, but the silence around her said more than words. Ethan didn't speak either. Every sound from above, the hum of drones, the crack of thunder, made him work faster. Finally, his AI assistant V hovered closer. Ethan, you have been awake for 48 hours. Your vitals are dropping. I suggest rest. Ethan didn't look up. No rest. If this doesn't work, Maella's death will mean nothing. V's tone softened. You can't bring her back. I know, Ethan said quietly. But I can stop it from happening again. He picked up a holographic schematic, Maella's old designs. They were saved inside a damaged memory chip he'd recovered from the ruins. She had been working on something big, something forbidden. A device that could purify nanotech from living cells. A way to reverse what humans had done to her people. But the files were incomplete, corrupted. Ethan didn't have the full blueprint. Still, he tried. Using what little power he had, he assembled the prototype from her sketches. A lung-like device that could filter out the toxic nanites. But the risk was enormous. If it failed, it could destroy the patient's cells entirely. V, Ethan said. Calculate the energy output if I connect it to a living body. The AI hummed. Output unstable. 91% chance of tissue collapse. That means 9% chance of survival, Ethan said. Better than 0. Lyra stood up slowly.
You mean, it can save Mama?
Ethan looked at her. The words caught in his throat. Maybe if we can bring her back. Lyra blinked, tears in her silver eyes. But she's gone, Eth, I saw her. Ethan knelt beside her. Lyra, listen to me. Your mother's body isn't gone yet. Her brainwaves, her energy might still be stored in her tech. If I can find her core memory system, maybe I can reactivate it. Maybe she left something behind. She looked confused. You can bring her back? Not alive, Ethan said softly. But maybe her mind, her data. Enough to finish what she started? V beeped nervously. Ethan, this is madness. Accessing government servers for that kind of data is a crime under Galactic Code 3. Ethan gave a tired smile. We're already criminals, V. That night, they moved through the tunnels toward an abandoned human outpost on the edge of the city. Lightning flashed through the sky and acid rain hissed on the metal streets. Ethan carried his tool bag while Lyra followed, clutching her mother's glowing necklace. When they reached the outpost, Ethan hacked into the door's panel. Sparks flew. The metal door opened with a groan. Inside were rows of broken consoles, dusty monitors, and the faint smell of burned circuits. This was one of the research hubs, he whispered. Maella must have worked here. Lyra ran her fingers over the walls, stopping near a cracked console. Her scent, she said softly. She was here. Ethan approached the console and powered it up. The screen flickered weakly, showing fragments of alien code mixed with human script. He typed fast, decoding what he could, and then there it was. Project L9 Hybrid Lung Interface Maella Illyrian. His heart skipped. I found it, Lyra's eyes brightened. That's her name! He downloaded the data into V's system. The AI hesitated. Ethan, this information is classified. If the network detects this transfer, the patrols will... Too late, Ethan interrupted. They already know we exist. Hours later, back in the tunnels, Ethan pieced together the last components. The new device pulsed softly with blue light. It looked fragile but alive. This, he said, is what she dreamed of. A way for humans and Illyrians to share the same air, the same life. Lyra watched, her small hands trembling. Will it work? Ethan looked at her sadly. It has to. Suddenly, V's alarm went off. Incoming patrols, ground units this time. Estimated arrival, 4 minutes. Ethan's heart pounded. They found us again? Tracking energy from the device, V said. You activated a band frequency. He grabbed the machine, shoving it into his bag. We'll finish this somewhere else. But before they could move, the tunnel roof shook violently. Dust rained down as lights flashed outside, the deep blue glare of patrol scanners sweeping across the entrance. Run! Ethan shouted. Lyra grabbed his hand, but she stopped suddenly. Eth, the necklace! The glowing pendant around her neck began to flicker rapidly, like it was responding to the machine's signal. Ethan's eyes widened. It's reacting to your mother's tech. The glow grew brighter, spreading across the tunnel walls. Holographic symbols appeared in the air. Maella's voice echoed faintly through the static. If you're hearing this, it means my daughter lived, and someone helped her. Whoever you are, thank you. Finish what I started. Save them all, Lyra gasped, covering her mouth. Mama! Ethan stared at the projection, his chest tight with emotion. She left us a guide. Outside, the patrol drones closed in. Their engines roaring. Ethan picked up the device and looked at Lyra. We have to move now. She nodded, clutching the necklace close. As they ran through the dark tunnels, Maella's voice faded, leaving behind one last line that burned into Ethan's heart. The cure is not in blood or code, it's in choice. And though he didn't yet understand what it meant, Ethan swore that night he would finish Maella's work, even if it meant defying the galaxy itself. The tunnels trembled under the roar of engines above. Searchlights cut through the smoke, and the metallic echo of marching boots grew louder with every second. The Galactic Patrol was here, and they were not searching anymore. They were hunting. Ethan clutched the half-built lung device tight against his chest, the soft blue light flickering through his fingers. Lyra ran beside him, her small hand gripping his coat as they moved through the dark maze of pipes and broken walls. Behind them, the air vibrated with the high-pitched hum of patrol drones. Their scanners swept across the tunnels, slicing through shadows. Each beam that passed made Ethan's heart jump. V, he said, breathless. Route us an exit path, something off-grid. The AI sphere zipped ahead, its light blinking rapidly. Accessing old city maps. Found one. Maintenance shaft C-17, 200 meters north. Ethan tightened his grip on Lyra's hand. That's our way out, but the girl's steps were slowing. She gasped for breath, her small chest heaving. The faint silver glow of her skin had turned pale white. "Eth," she whispered. "I can't." He stopped and knelt. "Hey, look at me," he said softly, holding her shoulders. "You're strong, remember? Your mom said you were the light of her world." Lyra blinked, tears glimmering in her blue eyes. "Mama," Ethan smiled sadly. "She's watching us. So you keep moving. For her." The sound of metal footsteps echoed closer. Ethan stood, lifting Lyra into his arms. The AI's light flickered nervously. "They're closing in." Multiple signals detected. Ethan ran. His boots splashed through puddles, the tunnel lights flashing behind him as the drones gave chase. He could feel the air heat up, laser scanners locking onto his position. Then a voice echoed through the speakers above. Cold, mechanical, and calm. "Citizen Ethan Hale, you are charged with violation of Galactic Law 9, harboring alien fugitives and unauthorized bioengineering. Surrender now or be terminated." Ethan kept running. "Not today," he muttered. A blast hit the wall behind him, throwing sparks and smoke. Lyra screamed as debris rained down. Ethan turned into a narrow pipe tunnel, barely wide enough to crawl through. He shoved the machine ahead of him and crawled fast, the air thick with dust. "V," he called. "Light." The AI floated behind him, its small glow illuminating the metal walls. "This passage leads to the old reactor chamber," V said. "You can use the power core to overload the patrol scanners." Ethan grinned through the dirt on his face. "Perfect. Let's give them something to choke on." When they reached the chamber, he set Lyra down behind a broken console. The old reactor core still glowed faint orange, a leftover hum of ancient energy. Ethan pulled out his tools. "V, connect the power lines. I'll link the lung device to the reactor surge." "That could destroy it," V warned. "Or save us," Ethan said. He quickly wired the device, using it as a temporary energy pulse generator. Sweat dripped down his forehead. "When I trigger this, the reactor will fry everything electronic in the area. That includes the patrol scanners." "And me," V added dryly. Ethan smiled faintly. "You'll reboot. I won't." V hesitated. "You are an illogical human. That's what makes me good at this." The first patrol unit burst through the far tunnel. 3 soldiers in armored suits, lights cutting through the dark. "Freeze!" one shouted. Ethan slammed his hand on the switch. A wave of blue energy exploded through the room. The lights shattered, the air crackled, and the drones outside went dead mid-flight, crashing to the ground. For a second, the entire tunnel system went silent. Then came the aftershock, loud, violent, enough to knock Ethan backward. He hit the wall hard, pain shooting up his arm. "Eth!" Lyra crawled to him, shaking his shoulder. "Wake up!" He opened his eyes slowly. The room was dark, filled with smoke. "We're alive?" V's faint voice came from the floor. "Systems. Rebooting. That was unpleasant." Ethan laughed weakly. "We'll call it a win." But his smile faded when he saw Lyra's glow dimming again. Her breathing was shallow, uneven. "Hey," he said softly. "Stay with me." "I'm okay," she whispered, but her voice was fading. "Just tired." He looked down at the broken lung device. The outer shell was cracked, wires exposed, but still faintly glowing. "V," Ethan said quietly. "Can we use it now?" "Not safely," V replied. "It's incomplete. Without a stabilizer, it might kill her." Ethan looked at the girl's face, pale, trembling, but still full of trust. "She's dying anyway," he said. "I can't lose her too." He set the device on her chest. It hissed softly, then pulsed with blue light. Lyra gasped as the glow spread through her body, lighting her veins like rivers of fire. The machine beeped once, then stabilized. Her breathing grew steady again. Ethan sat back exhausted, staring at her in disbelief. "It's working." But then, V's sensors flickered. "Ethan, look." Lyra opened her eyes. They glowed brighter than before. Brighter than any Illyrian eyes should. What's happening to her? Ethan whispered. The AI hesitated. The nanotech isn't being removed, it's merging, evolving. Lyra sat up slowly, looking at her hands. The silver light on her skin had changed. It shimmered with golden streaks, pulsing in rhythm with the human-made machine. She looked at Ethan, her voice soft but strange. Eth, I can hear everything. What do you mean? The city, she said. The drones, the air. I can feel them. Ethan's eyes widened. She wasn't just healed, she was connected. And then faintly through the static of the dead drones, a voice came from the network. A voice Ethan recognized. If you're hearing this, Ethan, my daughter is becoming what I could not. Protect her. It was Maela's voice, alive inside the signal. Ethan stared at Lyra in awe and fear. Your mother's still here, he whispered. Lyra's glowing eyes turned toward the tunnels where distant engines rumbled again. They're coming back. Ethan stood, clutching his tools. Then we run again. But this time, he knew something had changed. Lyra wasn't just a frightened alien child anymore. She was becoming something new, something that could change the fate of both species forever. The night sky above Tareth 9 burned red. Patrol. Ships hovered like silent predators, their light sweeping across the metal streets. Somewhere below them in the ruins, Ethan and Lyra hid. One human, one alien, and one fragile hope between them. The faint blue glow of the lung device pulsed softly beside them. Lyra's veins shimmered gold now, not sickly blue as before. She was no longer dying. But she was no longer the same either. Ethan stared at her in the dim light. Her eyes no longer just glowed. They radiated, reflecting streams of code and light like living data. You're changing, he said quietly. Lyra nodded. I can feel them, Eth. The machines, the patrols, the sky itself. They're all connected, and I can see it. V hovered nearby, voice trembling slightly. She's not only surviving, she's synchronizing with the galactic network. Ethan, if this continues, the system will detect her. They'll come with everything they have. Ethan ran a hand through his hair, exhausted. Then we finish this before they find us. He turned to the device, a mix of alien and human technology, Maela's dream, her design, her sacrifice. Ethan connected the last stabilizer coil, sealing the core. The device came alive, glowing with calm white light. This is it, he whispered. Your mother's creation, the purifier. It can heal others like you. Lyra touched it gently. Will it work for everyone? If I can upload it to the Galactic Health Network, Ethan said. Once it's in their system, every nanotech infection, human or alien, can be reversed. V chimed in. Uploading unauthorized code will trigger planetary lockdown. You'll be branded as a terrorist. Ethan looked at the AI. Maybe, but it'll save millions. For a moment, silence filled the air. Only the hum of machines in the distance. Then Lyra said softly, My mother believed humans and Illyrians could live together, she said one day. Someone would choose kindness over fear. Ethan met her gaze. Then that day is today. They reached the surface tower by dawn, a tall spire of steel rising from the ruins, its top piercing the storm clouds. The main uplink beacon was there, glowing with harsh blue light. This is it, V said. If you connect the device to that uplink, the cure will spread instantly across all networks. Ethan stared at the endless sky. And the patrols? Already inbound. He nodded. Then we make it count. They climbed the tower's inner ladder. Lyra followed, silent but steady. Each level shook as drones scanned below. The higher they went, the more the city opened beneath them, a world split between light and shadow. When they reached the top platform, the wind hit them hard. The uplink console stood waiting, humming with power. Ethan pulled the purifier from his bag and locked it into place. The system flared to life. Unauthorized data detected. Security breach in progress. V beeped in panic. They've locked onto us. 2 patrol ships approaching. Ethan typed fast, overriding the code barriers. Lyra stepped closer, her glowing hands hovering above the console. I can help, she said. What do you mean? Ethan asked. I can talk to the network. It listens to me now. Before he could stop her, she placed her hands on the panel. Her golden glow spread into the metal, racing through the circuits. The alarm stopped. The console lights changed from red to white. Ethan's eyes widened. You're merging with it? Her voice was calm but distant. The system needs a bridge. Something alive. I can be that bridge. Ethan's heart sank. Lyra, no, you'll burn your mind out. She smiled softly. Mama said the cure isn't in blood or code. It's in choice. This is mine. The wind howled as her light spread farther, climbing the tower and bursting into the sky. Across Tereth 9, drones froze mid-air. The air shimmered. Every infected being, human and alien, felt a sudden warmth in their chest as the nanotech within them went still. Then quiet. The cure had begun. But the light around Lyra flickered. Her small body trembled as the system drained her energy. Ethan rushed forward and held her. Stay with me, Lyra, please. She looked up at him, her eyes fading from gold to soft blue. We're the same now, Eth. Humans and Illyrians. No more walls. Don't talk like that, he whispered, tears in his eyes. You'll be okay. She smiled faintly. Mama's waiting. And then the glow faded completely. The tower went dark, except for one tiny light. The device, still humming. Ethan held her close, the world around him silent. The patrol ships hovered above but didn't fire. The network was quiet now, at peace. V floated beside him, voice soft. Ethan, it worked. The nanotech is neutralized across the entire planet. Ethan closed his eyes. She saved them all. He stood, lifting Lyra's necklace from her neck, the crystal still glowing faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. What now? V asked quietly. Ethan looked at the dawn breaking over Tereth 9. The city that once hated her now breathed freely because of her sacrifice. Now, he said softly, we rebuild. He turned and walked down the tower, the necklace glowing in his palm, a symbol of what humanity had lost and what it had learned. Far above, the galactic beacon shone white for the first time in history, broadcasting a new message across the stars. Human and Illyrian, one breath, one future. And in that light, Ethan knew the galaxy had finally changed.